There you go. Good evening. Good evening. I would like to call to order the Albany City Council meeting for June 16th, 2025. Mayor Lopez is ill this evening, so I will be chairing the meeting. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hanson Romero.
Here.
Councilmember Jordan will be here soon. Councilmember Mickey.
Here.
Vice Mayor McQuaid.
Here.
And Mayor Lopez is absent.
Thank you. There was no closed session, so we have nothing to report. We'll move into ceremonial matters. First item is the Ultimate Frisbee team, and I will read the proclamation. Those of you that are here for the Ultimate Frisbee team, come on up. Councilmember Jordan, would you like to read this?
Sure.
Come on down.
Come on down. Welcome. Proclamation in recognition of Albany High School Ultimate Frisbee team. Whereas the Albany High School Ultimate Frisbee team achieved and won their crowning moment at the Spaghetti Western Regional U.S. Tournament in Stockton in May, earning the team an invitation to the U.S. National Tournament in 2025 for the first time in team history. Sweet. Whereas the AHS Ultimate Frisbee team went undefeated in the tournament, beating teams from Oakland, Santa Cruz, Palo Alto, Boulder, Colorado, Berkeley, and South Eugene, Oregon. And whereas the Ultimate Frisbee's journey in Albany schools has been nothing short of inspiring, building on their winning the state championship last year. And whereas this season, AHS Ultimate Frisbee's achievement of reaching number 10 in the national rankings of high school ultimate teams from UltiWorld is a testament to the team's hard work. And whereas AHS Ultimate Frisbee team's progress has been marked by determination and teamwork, whereas the AHS Ultimate Frisbee, with enthusiasm for the future, set their sights on bringing the championship trophy back to Albany and extends heartfelt gratitude to all their supporters. Now, therefore, the Albany City Council does hereby congratulate the Albany High School's Ultimate Frisbee team's coaches, players, parents, for all their successes in representing Albany. Congratulations.
I know the answer to this, but can one of you tell us how you did at Nationals? Come up here so we can hear you. Nothing like embarrassing them.
We placed 8th out of yeah.
And personally, I think more important than that is you came in 3rd in sportsmanship and spirit. Is that correct? I think that's even more important. Are there any comments on this? Well, congratulations, and we will move on to item 4-2, proclamation for Juneteenth. Councilmember Mickey, would you read the proclamation?
City of Albany proclamation in recognition of Juneteenth, June 19th, 2025. Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest known celebration commemorating the abolition of slavery in the United States and the emancipation of African American slaves throughout the Confederate South. On January 1st, 1863, President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation,
setting in motion the end of slavery in the United States. And whereas the Civil War ended with the surrender of General Lee on April 9th, 1865, and this news reached Texas when Union General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston Bay with Union troops. It was on June 19th, 1865, that he announced, "The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation from the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free." And whereas numerous local and national Juneteenth organizations have arisen alongside older organizations with a common mission of promoting and cultivating knowledge and appreciation of African American history and culture, while encouraging continuous self-development and the respect for all people and cultures. And whereas Juneteenth symbolizes freedom and reminds all Americans of the significant contributions of African Americans to our society, and reminds each of us of the precious promises of freedom, equality, and opportunity, which are at the core of the American dream. And whereas recent events in our nation have highlighted the racism and inequalities still faced by Black Americans and people of color, and whereas we renew our commitment to eradicate these injustices and work towards a nation and community where people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Now therefore be it proclaimed, Juneteenth in the City of Albany encourages citizens to become more aware of the significance of this celebration in African American history and in the heritage of our nation and city. Thus, the Albany City Council recognizes June 19th, 2025 as Juneteenth in the City of Albany.
Thank you, Councilmember. Item 4-3, the CERT graduation. I'd like to introduce Albany Fire Chief Jim Boito for this part of the agenda.
Good evening, City Council. This is one of my favorite celebrations to be a part of. It's a chance for us to acknowledge the efforts of community members to be a better resource or a more valuable resource during the time of disasters for themselves, their families, and their community, their neighborhoods, and our community as a whole. And it also shows their dedication to public service. So it's wonderful that we're here today to give the spring class of 2025 acknowledgement for completing their 8-week program with the CERT. Our CERT program is part of our community preparedness and resilience program here in the City of Albany. They play a vital role, not just in times of earthquakes, but also other events that are smaller. I've spoke about it before. In January of 23, they helped clear out all the gutters in the city of leaves, freeing up our public works staff from having to do that work, but also unclog those storm drains. And it was a lot of rain, so it would have been a problem that would have led to flooding in the community. They also help at our Solano Stroll, doing crowd control and traffic control while we're doing the parade. And we're at over 80 people trained since COVID, and we're at over 500 people since we started the program. The original program was Alert Albany Local Emergency Response Team, and that started in '93 by a UC graduate student. I want to acknowledge my staff. Engineer Mike Robb, he's not here tonight. He manages the program. And then firefighter, paramedic Jacob Fujikawa. He is the energy from the fire department side for sure. That's put it mildly. That is interacting with our main instructor, Susie Naiman. And also with Albany CERT Inc. President Blake Yemen. Susan, you want to come up and give a few words about this class?
As a retired instructor, I have missed the joy that it brings me to see my students blossom And teaching something like emergency preparedness has kept me in touch with that passion, but more importantly, I feel it is such an honor and a privilege to contribute to my community in a way that I know really, really matters. We don't know who is going to save us, and we don't know who we will save, but the more prepared each and every one of us are, the safer we will all be. And so I'll get all teary-eyed, but it means a lot to me to see the passion in my students and their dedication and their wish to continue above and beyond what we've already trained them to talk to neighbors and organize amongst themselves above and beyond the scope of what we've done in class. So I just want to say how honored I am to have been your teacher, and I am thrilled by your dedication and commitment. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful program, and I'm delighted to be a part of it.
And Blake, I'd like to have you come up and talk a little bit about Albany CERT and some of the amazing work they're doing, the first in the state type of work.
Thank you. I'm Blake Yeaman. I'm also a CERT instructor. I lead the Albany CERT Inc. nonprofit group, and we're very committed to making Albany resilient through the CERT program. One of the things that's very interesting is we applied for a KALB grant this last year, and we were awarded a grant there. We were the only CERT city that had offered to create CERT training in a non-English language. We said we'd see what we could do, and so that was our goal. We found out that one of the top languages spoken here by people who are struggling with English is Mandarin Chinese, and so we found a person who was one of our recent CERT graduates. She's a smart CPA, and she said, yeah, I speak fluent Mandarin, and so we got her through a training course. She's now a certified instructor, and we're about to do this summer a Cantonese CERT training program. It's going to be very exciting. And Mandarin, sorry, yes, thank you, not Cantonese, Mandarin. And then, in addition, we just did the fire department did a program at the Gateview building, because there's a lot of people there that don't know what to do in a big emergency, and so we're trying to prepare them. Someone said, oh man, it would be great, because there's a lot of Vietnamese people around here who could use this kind of a training. And it just so happens that our Mandarin instructor also speaks fluent Vietnamese. So we can actually put that together. So one of the fun things about it we're going to be doing is when we do in the summer, the Mandarin class, we're going to postpone the final skills session that we do at the fire department, where we do all the practice and the training and live exercises. We're going to have the English class complete, and we're going to do them together, the Mandarin people with the English people in the class. So it's going to be very fun to see how this goes. So thank you for your time.
All right. The next part is will be, perfect. Vice Mayor McQuaid, awesome. We'll be recognizing folks and handing out. Yes, that'd be great. Yep, that'd be perfect. Thank you. All right. Now that we're in alphabetical order, we should be. Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. First, we'll have Milan Bartholomew.
Thank you so much.
Kate Campbell. Next was Eileen Crum. Yes. What I was going to say was Delia Carroll was not here, but she did complete the course. We want to acknowledge her efforts. All right. David Glasser. Brad Goodson. Carrie Cartman. Jeannie Pavlovich. Kelly Powers. David Stern is not here, but did complete the course. We want to acknowledge him. And also, Marin Van Young was not able to make it, but did complete the course. Next, we'll be doing the oath for. You want us in the center? Yeah, that's perfect. So you can read it. For disaster service worker.
Well, congratulations. If you could raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I, and state your name. Do solemnly affirm. That I will support and defend. The Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. Against all enemies, foreign and domestic. That I will bear true faith and allegiance. To the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of California. That I take this obligation freely. Without any mental reservation. Or purpose of evasion. And that I will well and faithfully discharge. The duties upon which I'm about to enter. Do you all attest to the oath that you just took? Yes. You may lower your hands down. Thank you.
And if I could ask the council to indulge in a photo with the Spring of 25 CERT class, that would be wonderful. I think. Yeah, that'll probably work out fine.
Okay, and that brings us to our city manager's report.
Thank you, Vice Mayor and Council. I'd like to extend appreciation to our community who took the time to conduct a peaceful protest here in our general vicinity this past June 14th. Approximately 2,000 individuals took time out of their day to express their concerns through that protest, and our appreciation for it remaining peaceful. Also, our appreciation to our public safety staff. We upstaffed for the day to make sure everyone was supported through that event. I would like to also remind, in correlation to what individuals were expressing concern about, that Albany is a sanctuary city. You see our banners at our city facilities, but it's much more than just a banner. I'll remind all of us that the council took decisive action to adopt a resolution several years ago that is still in act and in compliance through all city departments. That includes our police department, and we adhere to those policies strictly. Primarily what that means is that we do not support any activities by the federal government, including ICE, with regard to immigration enforcement within the city. You will also see that we've done some notifications on refreshing that we are a sanctuary city. You see that both in our e-news, our e-notify, and on our website, as well as at city facilities with red cards that provide information about knowing your rights. We will continue to address this issue over time and are actively adapting as we go, as I know we all are together. We also had a engagement through our public safety department for a fire drill and safety expo at the condominiums at Gateview on June 7th. We had a great turnout at this event. Several city departments, both police and fire, as well as Public Works, Community Development, and a lot of direct engagement with our residents in the Albany Hill area and at large. So appreciation to all that attended that event. And in fact, CERT Incorporated was also there. So great partnership all around. 4th of July is upcoming. Join us for our annual event in the Memorial Park. It will be held Friday, July 4th from 11 to 3 with a little bit of something for everyone, very family-friendly event. And of course, the Chamber of Commerce continues their longtime support of the event by handing out free ice cream at 12 noon, which always goes very quickly. So take opportunity to celebrate with your community locally. The Foyer Art Gallery is currently accepting applications for local artists interested in sharing their work with community. Applications for upcoming events at the Community Center are due this Wednesday, June 18th. Visit our website, albanyca.gov/artinalbany for more information. And for those that have little ones that need something to do this summer, please remember City of Albany has a number of programs for all ages throughout the summer, both our Friendship After School program and many camps. And there are still some spaces, but limited, so be sure to check out our recreation and activities guide posted online and also available at city facilities to sign up for camps and classes. And that completes my report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any council questions? Any members of the public? Thank you. I will just add that I really like the banners, the new banners on San Pablo. They're beautiful. Okay, that brings us to good of the city. A time for persons desiring to address the city council on an item that is not on the agenda. Please note that city policy limits each speaker to up to 3 minutes. The Brown Act limits the council's ability to take and/or discuss items that are not on the agenda. Therefore, such items may be referred to staff for comment or to a future agenda. Comments related to items appearing on the agenda are taken up during that agenda time, and I will let you know when that is. So do we have any comments in good of the city?
Yes.
Good evening, Council. My name is Marge Atkinson, and I'm here to speak of my friend and fellow council member, former Mayor Joanne Weil, who passed away about a week ago. So Joanne and I ran together for office, almost 20 years ago now. And we ran for office because we were concerned about a developer named Caruso who wanted to put a mall on the waterfront with a water feature right in the middle. And I thought, wow, why don't you look out at the Golden Gate? We have one already here. So Joanne and I served together for 8 years, and she was mayor, and I thought she did a wonderful job as mayor and as a council person. She seemed always very calm and had a good way of conducting the meetings. So Joanne was more than just, a person running for office. When we ran for office, I remember her saying, because she had worked at General Hospital in San Francisco as a therapist, wow, my job really prepared me for politics. I don't think it was a psych ward, but it may have been. Past this time, later in life, Joanne was a mover and shaker in the school district, and as you know, I was a teacher at Albany High for many, many years, and in the whole school district. she made arrangements for therapists to come and work with Albany High and with the elementary schools, which was not easy because there's a lot of regulations that go into trying to figure out what you can do, who can be hired or not hired, who can be volunteers. And she would spend hours and hours finding volunteers from Cal, basically, that would be a therapist for the children that needed it, and was very much appreciated by the teachers. If you have been a teacher, you know you don't have every perfect student in your class in terms of making sure everybody gets what they need. We all know Joanne was a dog person. She was known to stop on a highway, pick up a dog if it looked like it was lost, take it home and take care of it. I think I once visited, she probably had about, 3 or 4 dogs, half of them in her lap. Some of you may not have known she was a tennis championship person. She did not always look like she was a champion, but she did play that game at the high level. So she'll be missed, and I was sorry to hear that she had passed away, and I wanted to make sure that we recognized her, what she had given to our community. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments, and we will be adjourning our meeting tonight in her memory.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Robert Chasey. I'm also here to talk a little bit about Joanne Weil and the service she did. As Marge mentioned, she got involved in politics just primarily to protect the waterfront, which was a subject near and dear to my heart. But what impressed me about Joanne is that she also then decided to devote herself to being the best possible council member and mayor she could be. And she worked really hard to try to reach out and to address the needs of the community. And she did that very effectively. It was a time when she was able to calm waters and bring people together. And as you all know who sit up here and do this, you give up a lot of your free time to do this. She did so without complaints and voluntarily and did a great job of it. I want to mention one more thing in sense of public service, and Joanne is an excellent example of that, but the fire chief mentioned that this program of CERT came out of a graduate student from UC and who had organized a program called Alert. Well, actually what happened in 1990 was a group of PTA parents got together, and there was a program called Safe in Albany. And they were quite concerned because at that time there had been almost no attention to the very basics of earthquake preparedness, bolting your foundation, your pony walls to the foundations, and basically bracing them, and other steps you could take for earthquake and other types of disasters. And the first program was renamed EQUIP, EQPP, and then it became Alert, and then it became CERT. And it was done, it grew out of and Brian was great because he worked for the fire department, and his job was to do something about this, and he didn't know what to do. And when he ran into the people from the PTA, they organized the whole town. And at one point, they had block captains on most of the blocks in town. And when they had a summer event for preparedness, they had events on 100, and I think it was 123 blocks that participated. So we really did a lot about earthquake preparedness. Now I'm glad to see that they're still doing disaster preparedness. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please. And can you run the clock? Thank you.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Stephen Alpert. I and more than a dozen individuals have asked the council to justify why Albany falls under the minimum state mandate of notifying those within 300 feet of new construction, regardless of project size, when in fact for years, other California cities have used wider and varied notification to distinguish between small and large-scale projects. Alerting only those within 300 feet limits public discourse, allowing the Planning and Zoning Commission to propose and the council then push through new projects no matter how inappropriate, with minimal awareness and input from the public. Such was the case for the oversized 5-story modern box proposed for 1600 Solano. Only 73 properties were alerted by postcards mailed 10 days before the first Planning and Zoning hearing. As evident, the approved plans for 1600 Solano are not functionally appropriate nor harmonious with their surroundings, in total violation of Albany's planning and zoning mission statement shown here. Following my public comments on June 2nd, Councilman Jordan read portions of a letter from YIMBY, as in Yes in My Backyard law firm, citing California Code 6508 as prohibiting cities from enacting varying public notice for different sized projects, asserting that doing so would violate both California and federal Fair Housing Acts. I have reviewed that letter and exchanged emails with YIMBY attorney Jack Farrell. I will meet with them this week to review apparent discrepancies in the interpretation and applicability of Code 6508 to varying public notice based on project size. The second line of Mr. Farrell's 5-page letter reads, YIMBY law sues municipalities when they fail to comply with state housing laws. Michael Forbes, Community Development Director for Beverly Hills, reiterated that Beverly Hills has not altered its practice of varied notification based on Code 6508. YIMBY law boasts of 10 successful lawsuits in California. If Beverly Hills' variable notification practice is in clear violation of federal and California law, YIMBY has yet to initiate any legal action against that practice. The term affordable housing appears in the first sentence of Attorney Farrell's letter and subsequently is mentioned 5 times. Only 2 of the 12 residential units proposed for 1600 Solano were designated as low income. As correctly noted, those 2 units will have little impact on the real need for affordable housing in Albany. Let's review these facts. A total of 5 public hearings can be devoted to the review of a new project, but both the Planning and Zoning and the Council pushed through 1600 Solano during single meetings despite multiple calls for continuance, including some from the Council. While density bonus allows for that building to have a higher building, higher height, no setback, and no parking, density bonus does not override local building codes. You should have insisted that the project be compatible with the neighborhood in accordance with your own mission statement. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Good evening. I am Dr. Celeste Marks. For more than a year, Stephen and I have reviewed various reasons for concern regarding the issue of 300-foot notice for proposed new construction. The City of Irvine alerts all properties within 500 feet of new construction with notices 15 days before a first hearing. Burbank and West Hollywood also provide alerts for new construction beyond the 300-foot mandate. We are waiting confirmation if such alerts apply to variable notice for different sized projects and whether these cities have been subject to litigation. Albany appears complacent to adhere to the absolute minimum state mandate of alerting those within 300 foot of new construction by postcards mailed 10 days before a first project hearing. Due to the Brown Act, we have been limited to 3-minute public comment remarks, and the Council similarly limited to brief responses, as previously reviewed. The issue of 300-foot notification is not a topic for private discussion with Council members. Instead of this, we again request that the issue of 300-foot notification be submitted as a meeting agenda item to allow for in-depth discussion. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Are there any public comments online? Thank you.
I'm unmuted. What do I do now?
Jean, please go ahead.
Oh, hi. Yeah, my name is Jean Wu, and I'm a longtime resident of the City of Albany, and I'm really pleased to see that CERT is up and active and working to help people deal with what potentially could be disastrous events in and around Albany. I believe that the Albany Community Center is a perfect location to set up a community resilience hub. And in fact, Ava Community Energy, which is the local CCA, has put out statements saying that they are going to accept 50 local areas in the counties of Alameda and San Joaquin to become community-based resilience centers. Now, the original plan was to have municipal centers, which was something that was put forward in 2024 and targeted Berkeley, Emeryville, Fremont, Hayward, Livermore, Oakland, Pleasanton, and San Leandro. I do not know how many of those cities were awarded funds. This new plan is for 50 locations and community-based, but there are no funds at this time set aside for municipal sites. I have confirmed that Albany's Community Center could be considered and would be something that we could apply for to be on their technical list to be considered for funding when that funding is available sometime next year. So I would really like to put that on the agenda and have staff and the city council seriously consider, because I think that we have been lucky so far. We haven't had a major disaster, but it could happen any time. Could be fire, could be earthquake, could be flood, could be tsunami, could be just extended periods of lack of power. I also think that the community center would be perfect for solar, for batteries, for EV charging, for induction stoves, and a cooling center as we are headed into what looks to be an extended period of both drought and extreme heat. So these are things that we really need to prepare for now and not after the event. And I encourage City Council and staff to look into this more closely, and I would be glad to help in any way possible.
Thank you for your comments. Is there
Good
anyone
evening,
else?
council members. This is Lucinda Young. I am a member of the Albany Climate Action Coalition. And it's come to my attention, or several of our members' attention, that there are various incentives that have become available to our low-income residents. And I understand that we have about 600 to 700 households in Albany on CARE or FARA, which would qualify for these programs. The California Public Utilities Commission just recently introduced a $280 million program to help low-income households install solar panels and battery storage. And there doesn't seem to, and according to CPUC, these incentives combined with the federal tax credits result in zero installation costs. Also, AVA Community Energy has a program also for low-income residents, which basically CARE and FARA customers, that will replace gas ranges with induction ranges for free. My mother-in-law, who is low income, was recently able to take advantage of that program. And I want to we've potentially got a number of residents who could qualify for these programs. There doesn't seem to be very much outreach about the programs. I know my mother-in-law did not get any information about them. I just, by happenstance, when I was looking at the AVA Community Energy website, found out about it and applied for it with her. But I'd like to suggest that the city explore ways to do outreach to our low-income residents about these programs, which would advance our climate action and adaptation goals by reducing greenhouse gas pollution, by reducing air pollution, and it would also help our low-income residents improve their health through improving their indoor air quality and reduce their utility bills. So I hope we can look into that. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Seeing no one else. Are there any comments back? Okay, thank you. Okay, next is item number 7, consent calendar. Consent calendar items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. By approval of the consent calendar, staff recommendations will be adopted unless otherwise modified by the City Council. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member or a member of the audience requests an item removed from the consent calendar. Does any member of the council wish to pull an item?
7-5, please.
7-5. Councilmember Mickey, anything? Are there any members of the public wishing to pull an item? Okay, Councilmember Jordan.
Thank you. Just a comment. I did look at the trail map, both existing and proposed, on the Collaborative's website. And it shows that there's a Class 1 facility between the Ohlone Greenway and the Bay Trail running along Cerrito Creek, Pierce Street, and Central, which there is not. It shows that as an existing facility. So I just wanted to note that staff, by joining, hopefully can get such things corrected. I would suggest, since the facility from the Ohlone Greenway to the Bay Trail along Dartmouth, Gordonese Creek, and over to Gilman does exist now, that staff perhaps advocate to the Collaborative that they switch to that. I also note that the Cerrito Creek Connector Trail is the only official spur trail of the Bay Trail, and that should be included, and that specifically is the one that Albany is developing the closest piece to the Bay Trail, which is along Pierce Street and through Peggy Thompson, Pierce Street Park, and along Cleveland. And then from there, it would extend as a Class 1 facility to the Greenway along Cerrito Creek, but at least that one part of it is done. And so it'd be useful to show that within that network. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Could I get a motion to accept consent?
I'll make a consent motion.
I'll second.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Hanson Romero,
Yes.
Councilmember Jordan,
Yes.
Councilmember McKee,
Yes.
Vice Mayor McQuaid,
Yes.
Mayor Lopez is absent, so the motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, we have no presentations tonight, so we'll move into public hearing. Public hearing on the levy of assessments within Assessment District 88-1 for fiscal year 2025-26 pursuant to the Landscape and Lighting Act of 1972. May we have a staff report, please?
Good evening, City Council. So as Vice Mayor McQuaid said, this is the public hearing for the levying of assessments within Lighting and Landscaping Assessment District number 1988-1. I'll refer to it as 88-1. For fiscal year 2025 to 2026, pursuant to the Lighting and Landscaping Act of 1972. This is the second step in our annual process for levying this assessment. Per the Lighting and Landscaping Act, the City Council is required to take a number of actions every year that the assessment is going to be levied. These actions include, first, adopting a resolution directing the assessment district engineer to file a report. Second, adopting a resolution preliminarily approving the engineer's report and directing the city clerk to provide notice of the intention of the council to levy and collect assessments within the existing district for the next fiscal year. Third, conducting a public hearing upon the improvements, budget, and assessments that are proposed to be levied. And fourth, adopting a resolution confirming the diagram and the assessments for the next fiscal year and authorizing filing the diagram and the assessment with the county auditor prior to August 1st of the fiscal year in which assessments are to be levied. On June 2nd, 2025, the council adopted three resolutions. Resolution number 2025-29, initiating proceedings. Resolution number 2025-30, preliminarily approving the engineer's report for fiscal year 2025-26. And resolution number 2025-31, declaring the intention of the council to levy and collect assessments and setting June 16, 2025 today as the date for the public hearing. 88-1 provides funding for the installation, maintenance, and servicing of park and recreational facilities throughout the city, including maintenance and repair of landscapes, hardscapes, play structures, and irrigation systems at city parks, Memorial Park, Ocean View Park, the Dartmouth Tot Lot, Ohlone Greenway, and Peggy Thompson Pierce Street Park. And also funds maintenance of street landscapes, as well as contributing funds to our urban forestry program. The assessment has not changed from last year's assessment and is set at $75.54 for single-family residential parcels. This assessment has not increased since fiscal year 1993 to 1994. So with that, that brings us to the part of our evening where we need to conduct the public hearing, and then council will need to take action on resolution number 2025-45, confirming the diagram and assessment and levying the assessments for fiscal year 26, and then ordering the levies to be placed on the fiscal year 2026 secured property tax rolls. So with that, I will pass it to Vice Mayor McQuaid to open the public hearing.
Thank you. Before I do that, are there any council questions? Councilmember Jordan?
Thank you. I think it would be useful to explain why the assessment has not increased with inflation, given that most of the items that are on the property tax bills do have a provision to increase with inflation. If you can. Sorry, I should have thought to ask you that ahead of time.
No, that's a fantastic question. So within the way that the assessment district is set up does not account for an annual increase, and for any changes to be made to the fee, it would need to undergo a thorough public process in order to update the fee. The fee has sort of complex requirements built into it for any updates to be made, so any updates would need to go through a robust process for prioritization of changes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council comments? Okay, with that, yay, I will open the public hearing. Do we have any public? I will close the public hearing. Any final council comments? Seeing none,
Sorry.
almost seeing none.
I do want to thank staff for answering some of my questions earlier today, and I want to thank Councilmember Jordan for raising this question about the increase of inflation, recognizing that that is not something possible for us as council to do tonight. I am happy to move on with a vote, but I would like to bring to council's attention that I do believe, given the street lighting, tree inventory that we have done as a community and the sidewalk repairs that we are currently doing, that we should hopefully consider in the next year or so before this comes back to us for we're voting next year, and next year is around this time of year, that we have a thorough and robust public process to consider implications of potentially increasing this number to be able to effectively implement those things listed in the in the different plans that we have been working on as a community.
I could ask a question. Is this would this be subject to, should it be increased, would it be subject to a vote? And is the vote by property owners, or is it by?
So I believe it is subject to approval by voters, and assessment districts in particular are subject to complex formulation by being able to prove benefit by property. So the formulation of that is complex and would have to be something that we're investigating. Council will receive a presentation from staff on July 7th regarding a number of opportunities for funding measures, and at that time, our finance director and our city manager and public works will present a number of options for funding measures and opportunities to pursue over the next coming years and how we want to prioritize those.
Thank you. Thank you, council member.
That was my question too. Seeing no more questions, could I get a motion to adopt resolution 2025-45?
I will move resolution 2025-45.
I'll second.
May we have a roll call, please?
Vice Mayor McQuaid?
Yes.
Mayor Lopez is absent. Councilmember Hansa Romero?
Yes.
Councilmember Jordan?
Yes.
Councilmember Mecki?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you. That brings us to new business. Item 11-1, Donation request from the Albany Film Fest for special monthly documentary series. Is there a staff report?
Very brief introduction. You have the experts here. This is a request for the City Council to continue a support of the Albany Film Fest. The request is attached to the staff report, and clearly this event has been a long-standing event in our community, and I welcome the event leaders here to speak more to it.
Thank you. Good evening, council members and city staff. Jack Kenny and Naomi Luck-Siegel were the co-founders of the Albany Film Fest, now going into its 15th year. And you probably saw my letter that was sent in to the city manager. This is, it feels like after 15 years, or almost 15 years, we were starting getting more critical acclaim from critics in the media, and audience members were loving the film fest, but us veterans are getting a little tired, and we're looking for some new blood to keep things going. But instead of just dropping the whole thing, we were lucky to have a cooperation with the Berkeley Film Foundation. If you're familiar with them, they support local filmmakers. They get funding for them to make their films. And so they had some documentary films, award-winning films that they wanted us to show. And so we devised a special film series over 5 months, starting this Thursday is the first one. Those will be at the Cerrito Theater. And I think people will really, it's fitting for the times. Naomi has the poster that's it's titled Courage, Hope, Resistance, 5 Films About Social Justice. And so we're really looking forward to that as sort of an interim before whatever the next step is of the Albany Film Fest. So we thank you for all the support that the city has given us. That's where we started. We came out of the community media committee, and look what happened. So we're respectfully requesting some funding for this year's event. We lowered the amount that we had requested last year because the costs were going to be less. We're not going to have an awards gala. We're not going to have a short film competition with awards that go out. So we scaled that back. We thought that was responsible to do that. But our roots remain in Albany. Most of the people who attend the films are from Albany, and the majority of the sponsors are Albany-based. And also, there still will be a screening in Albany. Like we did last year, there will be an outdoor screening at Cornell and Solano as part of Albany Local Week. So circle September 28th. That's the outdoor screening, and we're going to be showing an environmental film, an award-winning film about climate change related to what's happening with the research in Greenland. So I think that'll be of interest to folks. Anyway, I think we've been contributing to the community, bringing in other points of view for people to be exposed to, and also for our audiences to get to know Albany and our surrounding area and know what the people are like here. So we're proud of what we've done, and we hope you'll support us. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Go ahead, Councilmember Mickey.
Yeah, so, I thank you for all that you have been doing with the Albany Film Fest, and I appreciate you all taking the time to think a little bit about kind of the future and how you want the organization to continue. And I think something that I'm really appreciative is that you are spending that time, and you've chosen to still provide us with activities and films and something to keep our minds engaged and thinking. And I appreciate that you're coming with us with a smaller request, but I would ask, given the history of the film festival and given the gala, given the continuing to engage sponsors, and I think having the film competition, I mean, is there, if the council were to, would any additional funding help you continue some of those things that you had done in the past, or is the time that you need to submit to committing to what you want the future of the film festival to be prohibitive of being able to do some of those other events that really engaged the community and really got the community excited because they were kind of putting their own films in and having an event where we could celebrate the different films that you all had presented in the past.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we could do it right away this year. It might be later in the year, or early next year, to prepare for the 2026 Film Festival. Because we're trying to scale back a little bit this year so that between the two of us, who've been the volunteer head of what's happening with the Albany Film Fest, to give us a time to reassess how we're going. So we probably would know better later in the year whether or not we could use additional funds. But I mean, we'd be very grateful for them.
Great. Thank you.
Are there any other questions? Is there any public comment? Okay, I'll bring it back for council comments.
I'd just like to thank you and the others who've worked along on the Film Fest along the way for doing so for such a long time, and looking for succession planning. I think is what I understand is happening, and that's not something all organizations are good at trying to do. So I commend you for doing that. Thank you.
Right. We have, through our fiscal sponsor, they offer services for doing organizational analysis and trying to eventually get to an advisory body. And we'd hope the city, either the council or staff, would somehow be involved with that too, because we want to have all the voices of the community advising where we should go into the future.
Great. Thanks. And I looked at your board page. Looks like there are some maybe younger people on the board. I don't know if they're in line for succession or what they're thinking, but hopefully so. Thank you.
So.
Yeah.
Any other council comments? Go ahead.
No, so I was just going to continue on kind of as a follow-up to the question that I had posed, and really maybe more for our council discussion, but just, you know, I understand the funding, the need for the actual presentation of the videos, of the movies and documentaries. But, you know, and I have been on council, I have advocated that really our funding should be to help start kind of a movement and have them grow and find funding outside of the council. I think this is a situation where, while it's not, you are 15 years in, and so you're not starting off, you are as a very important crossroads, and that the time that's needed to do the succession planning and what will be the core of the Albany Film Festival in the future, I think it's also important that we are able to help support this group through that process. And I'm not sure necessarily tonight is the night to make a decision about providing additional funding, but I think I would ask that we keep an open mind to funding as they come back to us. You know, as in an opportunity to speak with the group, you know, the idea of doing the community outreach, understanding what the community wants, what stakeholders want, what board members want, those often involve some form of public forum. And so I think we as a community could work with them potentially, staff on the spot here, but, you know, providing a forum where those discussions can happen, but also knowing that those often need sponsors, right? How is food provided? And so, I don't know if anyone would be inclined tonight to provide additional funding, or if we simply want to keep it on our radar to keep open the potential of providing additional funding for them to be able to do that and really have a successful succession planning and keep this incredible festival going.
I just have a few comments. The first one, in full disclosure, I do volunteer with the Film Fest. I want that to be known. Actually, Jack, you took most of my talking points.
Sorry.
But I did want to highlight that there will be a showing of an environmental film in Albany during Local Week on September 28th. And one of our films is part of the film series was created by an Albany filmmaker who happens to live next door to me, but that's immaterial. The selection of the theme this year, Courage, Hope, and Resistance, as well as the films that we're showing, support the council's strategic goal plan number 4, encourage community connectivity through diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I think there's a real connection here to both the council goals and the city as a whole. Any other comments?
Thank you. To Councilmember Mickey's comment, I mean, I'm more amenable to considering future requests at the time once there is some succession planning and some framing of that request. I will note the desire to support the Film Fest and continuing while the Friends of Albany Theater is doing its work, because hopefully come back together again in the future, and so hoping not to lose either one of those. Thank you.
Any other comments? And I will look for a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-46, the funding request from the adopted 24-25 operating budget from the council discretionary fund.
I'll move that we adopt resolution number 2025-46.
I'll second.
Could we have the amount?
Sorry, in the full amount of $5,000.
Thank you. Councilmember Jordan?
Yes.
Councilmember Mickey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McQuaid?
Yes.
Mayor Lopez is absent. Councilmember Hanson Romero?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item 11-2, resolution to appoint Gina Anderson, a CalPERS retired annuitant, as interim police chief. May we have a staff report, please?
Yes. This is a requirement of CalPERS, as Ms. Anderson is a retired annuitant from the CalPERS system, given her extensive career history serving local municipalities, including City of Newark and several other organizations. As such, you have a resolution attached to your staff report that fits the obligations of reporting for CalPERS and must be on this place in your agenda, and that's why you have my staff report and the accompanying documents tonight.
Thank you. Are there any questions from council? Seeing none, is there any public comment? All right, are there any council questions? I'll accept a motion to adopt Resolution 2025-47, appointing Gina Anderson as interim police chief.
I will move resolution number 2025-47.
I'll second.
May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Mickey?
Yes.
Vice Mayor McQuaid?
Yes.
Mayor Lopez is absent. Councilmember Hanson Romero?
Yes.
Councilmember Jordan?
Yes.
And the motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item number 12, council subcommittee reports on appointed representation of Albany and other meetings and events. I will start with Councilmember Hanson Romero.
Yes, we had a meeting of Alameda County Waste Management Authority, Recycling Board, and one of the main part of the meeting was introducing the new technology piece for recycling, reusing, and where things go. It's a new app. It's an in-house app that's been created so they can work on any bugs or fixes and so on and so forth. And it's really great. You can download it from the App Store and type in whatever kind of, if you're struggling with what to do with, you know, a crazy little light bulb or some sort of doorknob, whatever. Anything that comes to mind that you're like, where does this go? It doesn't fit in my green waste, it doesn't fit in my garbage, it doesn't fit in my recycling. Use the app, you can type it in there, and it'll pop up and give you several options, what the availability is, the locations, and if they provide pickup service, or if you have to drop it off, so on and so forth. So quite an extensive, handy tool for people to use. So.
I will say that I am personally super excited about that app. I have used the app. it is helpful in tracking what does Berkeley do versus what does Albany do, and so knowing that each has their own waste management systems and what they'll accept. So,
Councilmember Jordan?
Yes, I attended a board meeting of the Alameda County Mosquito Abatement District. Had a rather arcane presentation on how funding that used to go to the redevelopment agencies is distributed, which I didn't know that was still going on. It's not going on for Albany because Albany closed out all its obligations, but there's a countywide basically agency that inherited those obligations and is paying them off and distributing the rest of the tax increment. We also discussed the general manager's compensation for the coming year and some other matters I won't belabor.
Thank you. Councilmember Mickey?
I was not able to attend the League of California Cities Housing, Community, and Economic Development Committee meeting last week, but I was able to attend an update this week where various members kind of reported back on what happened. Suffice to say, a lot has been happening, and particularly in the housing and economic development side, where a series of legislations surrounding what could be done around transit-rich stations. So I think Alameda counts as a tier 1 because we have enough stations to qualify as a tier 1, which, were the legislation to pass, would mean that by right, height limits would be set higher around transit stations. Still to be seen whether or not the legislation will pass. And apologies, I was not able to attend our Alameda County Mayor's Conference last week in town. I was out of town, but I heard it went really well, and Mayor Lopez did a great job.
Thank you very much. I attended a whole bunch of stuff this time. The Chamber of Commerce mixer. I went to the fire drill and community expo at Gateview, and want to express my thanks to all of the staff that were there. As was mentioned earlier, there were several different departments and the CERT team there with presentations, and waste management was also there. I did a ride-along with the Albany Police Department last Saturday night, or 2 Saturdays ago now. We had a housing authority meeting where we adopted our fiscal year 26 budget with a deficit of around $100,000. Due to the uncertainty of federal funding, it's really hard, as we know, to create a budget. The emergency housing vouchers, which came out of the COVID program designed for a 10-year program, they're now anticipating they will be exhausted by December. And HACA is working with the county to determine if there are other funding sources for the 200 families that will be impacted if they lose their vouchers. Albany currently has 16 housing choice vouchers, which is up from the 11 that we've had for quite a while. I believe those are the project-based vouchers that are attached to the SAHA project. The Family Self-Sufficiency Program will hold a resource fair on June 28th. It's community-based organizations, employment preparation programs, home ownership programs, all coming together to share their resources with the participants in the FSS program. And I'm pleased to say that Albany Rotary is one of the sponsors of this event. I attended the mayor's conference last week, and you are correct. The mayor did a great job. I also attended a panel put on by the Stonewall Democratic Club on how local government can protect LGBTQI rights in the shadow of federal government attacks. I went to the League of California Cities Environmental Policy Committee meeting and then the Division Forum today to talk about it. And I also went to Summer on Solano, which was good. Okay, are there any future agenda items by the council? Seeing none. Any from the public? All right, seeing none. We will adjourn our meeting wait, one more thing. Upcoming meetings, Thursday, June 19th is Juneteenth. It's a city holiday. And as the city manager mentioned, Friday, July 4th is also a city holiday for 4th of July. Other upcoming meetings, you can look at our website, www.albanyca.gov, for other information on public meetings. And as we mentioned earlier, we are adjourning tonight in memory of Joanne Weil. I have a little thing to read, and we'll have a moment of silence. Joanne Weil, former city council member and mayor, died on June 4th, 2025. Prior to her service on council, she was a member of the Park and Recreation Committee, as it was then known. Joanne was a psychiatric social worker and organizational consultant, earning her MSW from the School of Social Welfare at UC Berkeley. She was a retired health administrator and mental health consultant to the San Francisco Behavioral Health Services and co-chair of the Cultural Competence and Ethnic Minority Issues Program at San Francisco General Hospital. She initiated a collaborative UC Berkeley internship in the Albany schools and helped to supervise the AUSD mental health internship program for several years. During her 8 years on the city council, her focus was on environmental, economic, and social justice issues. She was a strong advocate for the waterfront, persons without homes, support for local businesses, city fiscal stability, and efforts to amplify Albany's sense of community. A 25-year resident of Albany, Joanne was the first openly lesbian member of the Albany City Council. Her love of dogs, birds, and cats inspired her ambitious 2019 coordination role in housing a large feral cat colony. She was a true animal lover. One of my fondest memories is the Pause to Read program she started at the library, where young readers became more comfortable reading out loud by reading books to her dogs. Joanne was an active member of the Unitarian Universalist Church in Berkeley, where she volunteered in mentoring teens, managing church programs, pursuing social justice, and many more efforts that exemplified her legacy of dedication to community service. Those who mourn her loss remember her as an extraordinary woman. She was so modest and quiet in her support for our community, which she loved so dearly. A memorial service at the UU Church will be announced at a later date. And now please join me in a moment of silence for Joanne Weil. And with that, we are adjourned.